human female medic protected the alien albino dragon hatchlings with. Beginning, the colony ship Aurora Dawn drifted in orbit above the storm-shrouded planet of Kael'thar IV. The world was uncharted, its surface cloaked in jagged mountains, sprawling forests of crystalline trees, and roiling clouds of perpetual lightning. Few dared to descend, yet for the survival of the crew, scouting expeditions had become necessary. Dr. Lyra Soren, chief medic of the expedition, was no soldier, no hardened explorer. She was a healer. But after years in deep space, she had grown used to patching wounds from mining accidents, treating infections brought by alien spores, and keeping morale steady. When Captain Vale requested volunteers to accompany the survey team to Kael'thar's surface, Lyra surprised herself by stepping forward. "I need medics," Vale had said, his tone grim. "We don't know what's down there." They landed at dawn. The shuttle's descent to the storm was like diving into the throat of a beast, turbulence rattling metal, flashes of lightning turning the crew's faces white. When the storm broke, the landing site revealed itself, a valley of obsidian rock split by rivers of molten glass. And within that valley, bones. Great skeletal arches jutted skyward, ribs of creatures long dead. Their sheer size dwarfed even the shuttle, evidence that Kael'thar had once been home to titans. As the team spread out, Lyra's steps slowed. Her med scanner chirped faintly, picking up weak life signs, fragile, close to collapse. She followed the reading to a half-collapsed cavern with a scent of scorched stone and ash hung heavy. Inside, she found them, for small creatures huddled in the dust. Albino-scaled, with translucent wings too fragile to lift, their eyes glowed with pale silver fire. Dragon hatchlings. They chirped weakly, bones showing beneath thin hides. Their nests had been shattered, perhaps by the storm, perhaps by predators. Whatever the cause, their mother was gone. "Dragons," whispered one of the Marines behind her, raising his plasma rifle. "No!" Lyra snapped, stepping between the barrel and the trembling hatchlings. "They're infants. They'll die without help." The Marine frowned. "And if they grow? What then? You want us nursing predators." But Lyra's heart clenched. She had seen suffering in all forms, human and alien alike. The hatchlings were alive, fragile, innocent. Her oath as a medic rang in her ears. Preserve life. She wrapped her arms around the nearest, feeling its icy scales against a uniform. "I'll protect them," she said. "Middle." The captain had not been pleased. "You brought dragons aboard my ship, Doctor?" His voice cracked like thunder in the command deck. "They're starving, dehydrated, and weak," Lyra countered, standing her ground. The hatchlings huddled in a heated containment chamber behind her, chirping faintly. "They won't survive without care, and I won't stand by and watch them die. They're dangerous." Vale growled. "This species could be the apex predator of Kael'thar for all we know. You're asking me to risk my crew." Lyra's chin lifted. "You asked me to be your medic. This is what I do. I protect life." A tense silence stretched. Finally, the captain exhaled. "They live, under your care. But if they become a threat, Doctor, I won't hesitate." Lyra bowed her head in gratitude. She returned to the medbay, determined. Days passed. Caring for alien dragons proved unlike anything in her medical training. The hatchlings required intense heat to regulate their metabolisms, a slurry of minerals and proteins that she painstakingly synthesized, and constant monitoring of their fragile wings. She spent sleepless nights adjusting nutrient levels, stitching small wounds from clumsy squabbles, humming soft lullabies as they whimpered. The crew muttered, suspicion simmering. Some called them monsters. Others whispered they were omens. Only a few, curious engineers and young cadets, came to peer into the medbay, marveling at the glowing-eyed creatures. The hatchlings grew attached to Lyra. When she entered, they chirped and fluttered weakly, crawling to her. One, the smallest, curled around her arm like a serpent, refusing to leave her side. She named them Ashen, Pyra, Solis, and Little Neve, but shadows loomed. The storms around Kael'thar worsened, battering the Aurora Dawn. Supply shortages grew. And then came the transmission. A nearby outpost sent warnings. Kael'thar was not just dangerous. It was sacred. The planet, according to alien records, was a nesting ground of the Calvarians, a vanished but legendary race. The albino dragons were their guardians, engineered to protect ancient vaults hidden in the planet's depths. "If that's true," Captain Vale muttered, staring at the data, "then these hatchlings are living weapons." And sure enough, the first sign came when raiders struck. A pirate ship, lured by the Aurora's energy signature, ambushed them at the edge of the system. Plasma fire rattled the hull. The Aurora staggered under the assault. Lyra was in the medbay when the ship shuddered. Explosions lit the corridors. Crew scrambled, and the hatchlings, once timid, sensed danger. Their silver eyes blazed. A low, keening roar escaped their throats. The pirates breached the hull, armed and brutal. One stormed the medbay, rifle raised at Lyra. Before she could move, Solis leapt, still small, barely half the size of a dog, but wings flaring with radiant light. His jaws snapped, releasing a burst of plasma-like fire that seared the intruder. The man crumpled, smoking. Lyra's heart pounded. The hatchlings circled her, protective, their tiny bodies trembling. They weren't weapons, they were children, but they would defend her. When the battle ended, the crew whispered even more fearfully. Dragons that breathe fire, that could kill even as hatchlings? Captain Vale's patience thinned. We can't keep them, Doctor, he said grim. They're a liability. No, Lyra said fiercely. They saved me. Saved us. They're loyal. They're dangerous, he shot back. The crew won't tolerate it. But before the decision could be forced, Kael'thar itself shifted fate. The crisis. Exploration teams discovered a cavern beneath the valley, vast, glowing with alien architecture. Inside, a vault, and etched on its walls, holographic carvings revealed the truth. The dragons were indeed guardians, designed to imprint on a caretaker, a protector chosen not by blood, but by compassion. Without a bond, they turned feral, the carvings explained. But with one, they become the fiercest allies. The hatchlings had imprinted on Lyra, and that was when Kael'thar storms birthed a new horror. From beneath the surface crawled predators, serpentine beasts with obsidian hides and molten jaws. The true threat to the dragons, the ancient enemy. They swarmed the valley, drawn by the hatchling scent. The Aurora's crew, still recovering from the pirate attack, was outmatched. Plasma rifles barely slowed the monsters. Lyra, clutching little Neve against her chest, realized the truth. The hatchlings were not just war to protect. They were meant to fight alongside guardians. She was that guardian now. Open the containment, she shouted to the crew as the beast broke to the perimeter. Doctor, you can't. Trust me. With a hiss, the chamber opened. Ashen, Pyra, Solis, and Neve emerged, wings flaring, eyes blazing. They stood before Lyra, growling in eerie unison. The beast surged. The dragons leapt. What followed was chaos. Fire brighter than plasma cannons, shrieks that shook the valley, and Lyra at the center, shielding the smallest with her own body when fangs lunged too close. The hatchlings, though still young, fought with desperate fury. One by one, the obsidian predators fell, scorched and broken, but victory carried a price. Solis, brave Solis, lay wounded, a molten fong piercing his wing. Lyra fell to her knees, hands trembling as she pressed medgel against the wound. Stay with me, she whispered, voice breaking. You saved me. Let me save you. Solis whimpered, pressing his snout against her chest. Hours later, as dawn broke through the storm, the beast lay scattered and the valley was silent. The crew stared at Lyra and the hatchlings with awe. No longer monsters. No longer liabilities. They were saviors. Ending. Weeks passed. Repairs to the Aurora continued. Supplies ran low, but morale soared. The story of the albino dragon spread to the crew like fire, that they had fought beside a human, that they had chosen her as guardian. Captain Vale, once skeptical, stood beside Lyra in the medbay as the hatchlings dozed. You proved me wrong, Doctor, he admitted softly. They're not just dangerous. They're hope. Kael'thar was meant to kill us, but with them, we survived. Lyra smiled, exhaustion and pride mingling. They're not weapons. They're children. And one day, they'll grow strong enough to guard not just their world, but ours. As the hatchling stirred, chirping softly, Lyra stroked Neve's scaled head. In their glowing eyes, she saw not monsters, not threats, but the future. And she knew, with unshakable certainty, that she would protect them. With every breath, every heartbeat, she would stand between them and death, because that was who she was. A healer, a guardian, a human female medic who had protected the alien albino dragon hatchlings with her courage, her compassion, and her love.